Opened in 1960 by Bruton Smith and NASCAR driving legend Curtis Turner with the running of the longest stock car race in history, the World 600. The Charlotte Motor Speedway closed before it would ultimately become the home track of so many NASCAR teams. Just a year after the first race, the 1.5-mile oval track was in bankruptcy, done in by a huge infield rock formation that ballooned construction costs far beyond what its two founders had forecast. Almost 60 years later, nearly everything is different. More than 94,000 seats ring the racetrack, which was the first superspeedway to install lights for night racing. The first racetrack to incorporate a condominium apartment complex overlooking the racing surface. The first to build an office complex with the same view. The first racetrack to sell naming rights and the first to open a year-round club where members can spectate during races and socialize with fellow club members at other times. Everything is different from when they first broke ground here in Charlotte, except the racetrack is still owned by the Smith family. Tonight, it's race number 10 of the IROC Challenge Series, and it's next on HBR TV. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Charlotte Motor Speedway. We're racing on the Roval here tonight. I'm Steve Singer with HBR TV, joined in the broadcast booth by Zach Millett. Zach, how are you?
Hey, Steve. How we doing, man?
We're doing well. We're going road racing here, so that's always an added bonus. I know it may not necessarily be everybody's cup of tea, but let's get after the details this evening. A 90-minute timed event tonight, not a lap race by any means. Weather conditions, 78-degree Fahrenheit temperature, 45% humidity, partly cloudy skies, 2-mile-per-hour breeze, and track temperature 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Going to be a little slick out there tonight. Aside from the weather being the iRacing rubber stamp, track temperature certainly going to come into play this evening. 100% fuel load, and I believe an unlimited tire set. Not that everyone's going to necessarily take all those tires, but they are there nevertheless. Zach, what does it take to get around this place? I know you turned some laps here prior to this evening. In fact, let's pull that up right now. Walk us through a lap here at the Roval.
It really is a fun track to run around with these cars. These cars don't have the power that most cars have, so you can't really pick up the rear end of the car as much. But you want a nice wide angle in between one here. You want to come out all the way to the wall, get a better angle, see if you can almost stay wide open through that left. Now this is a tricky spot. You want to get the middle of the apex here. You want to get as much left as possible to get a better angle into this right turn. The better angle you get, the better speed you get down this straightaway. And it's like one corner after another here, Steve. Everything is just so tricky. You got to be on your marks every single turn of this place. You're going to lose so much time. This is probably my most hated part of the track, where you got to wash up to this wall right there and you're super tight to it. And your exit is everything as you come out back to the NASCAR oval here. So every mile an hour you can get out of the exit of that turn matters big time. As we build up the speed, we're going to get to this chicane. The braking point is everything. You're going to pretty much kill these curves a little bit. Same thing again, Steve. Your exit is everything as you come back out to the oval.
Some would think we're wide open all the way to the start-finish line. Another tricky section here, 15 and 16. What do you get on the brakes here for?
Right about here. It's pretty tight. It's, you do the whole lap perfect, and you can mess up the whole darn thing right there just by missing the braking point by a couple feet.
Minute 23:118 the time. Very quick lap here at the Charlotte Roval. Millett, sorry to put you on the spot there, but you turned the laps. I figured you'd be the best one to walk us through that one.
Oh, yeah, man. Anytime you want me to turn a lap, and at a road course especially, I'm in.
Taking a look at the times here in the warm-up session right now, the fastest on the board is the 33 of Kevin McCann as the warm-up comes to a close. Minute 23:69, the only driver to get below a minute 24 in this session. I think we had one or two crack the 23-second barrier, minute 23 seconds in qualifying. We'll take a look at that starting grid here in just a moment. Again, a 90-minute time race here tonight. We're not going to be counting laps. There will still be stage breaks, though, at the 30-minute and then the 60-minute mark. Cautions will come out for both of those stages. Points will be paid, I believe, to the top 10. With that, let's take a look at our starting grid on the pole position with a lap time of 1:24.244. It's the 33 of Kevin McCann. Outside front row, it's brother Brian. Missed it by almost 2/10. He'll start second. Row number 2, it's Chris Mefford and Josh Funkhauser. Row 3, the 83 of Brandon Mefford, flanked by Garrett Johnston. Starting in the 7th position, it'll be Brent Butler. 8th will go to Timmy Schofield. Mike Cook, the 00, will start 9th. 10th goes to Nuke Quick in the 4. Adam Benefiel, the number 9 machine, will start 11th, with Larry Bruner, the number 44, starting 12th. 13th starter is Zachary Kleek. Josh Stewart in the 03 will start 14th. Kyle Turzak did not take a time in qualifying. This will be fun to watch. The 051 coming from the rear will start 15th. Jarrett Wiedner, 16th. Doug Wysocki starting in the 17th spot. Matt Kopp of the Charity Motorsports, number 84. He'll start 18th. And race admin, race series owner, I guess you could say, the 51 of Chris Wally will start shotgun on the field in the 19th position. Your starting grid as the field begins to roll away, working through turns 1 and 2 already. We'll be green the next time by.
Definitely looking forward to that. Well, Steve, nice and early here. You gotta pick. I think you let me pick first the last time. So
get out of my head.
I think it's only right you take the first one here.
I think you picked the winner last week, though, so I think that gives you first rights to pick, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm not going to argue that.
All right, go ahead.
Man, it's tough. I think I'm going to go with Kevin McCann here. Not just because he's on the pole and he looks fast, but I think he knows he's going to have maybe a 10th or 2 on his brother Brian here. I think he can calmly go out there, keep pace, not push too hard. And I think if he can keep it consistent, he's going to get the win here tonight.
So you're going Kevin or Brian? I didn't catch you.
Kevin.
Kevin McCann. Solid pick. I know alternately the best idea here would be to go pick Brian McCann. He's starting outside front row, and he is going to be quick here, but I don't know. I'm going to go Kyle Turzak. He's going to come from the back, and as long as he stays out of trouble, he's going to be a threat. So we're going to go with the 051.
I'm excited to see it, too. He's got plenty of time here tonight, which is the best part. If he can just keep it clean, out of trouble, that's going to be great.
He's got some traffic to work his way through. I'm still not sure why he opted not to qualify or if it was mandated. I know he's won a bunch of races this season, but I don't recall IROC instituting any kind of win penalties for these drivers. And if that was the case, I think he'd be having to start from, well, last week's racetrack, the way he's been winning races this season.
Yeah, from the hauler maybe or something.
Got to do a 4-tire pit stop before you can take the green? I don't know.
Yeah, doesn't get any tires at all tonight. Maybe half the fuel, who knows?
Granted, that does give me an idea for you.
Oh, no, shouldn't have said it.
I'm going to talk to Justin Johnson over at Lone Star Racing and see if he can make you do a pit stop before you start your race next week.
Oh, man, I hope not. Well, Pocono, there's going to be a place to do it. I'll do it there.
Barney with a green in hand as we wait the field to get through this first chicane. I guess you call it the last chicane.
Such a tough spot to go green here for the mid-pack.
Green flag in the air. Kevin McCann out to the early lead as the field barrels into turns 1 and 2. It's going to be fun to watch these two fight it out. They know very well how each other race. They know what they can get away with. They know what each driver is capable of.
Brian's really smart behind the wheel. He knows if he's got a chance to get the rubber, he's going to go on these pushes.
Kevin McCann still out in front. He's already put some distance on brother Brian. Trying to slow your standings ticker down here. It's going by at warp speed here, trying to go to the future. We'll try and get that corrected for you guys. Real loose in the middle of the backstretch chicane. Kevin McCann laying some rubber on the racetrack on lap number 1.
That's the thing about these Hoosiers, Steve. I mean, you can do that over and over and over. These tires just seem to take it and not care. And second, starting to build a pretty decent gap back to third place already.
Not surprising. We know how good Kevin McCann is on these road courses. Brian McCann certainly no slouch either. Chris Mefford, not really known for his road racing prowess, but doing a good job here running in that third position. Top 6 drivers all running right where they qualified. I think just trying to settle into a rhythm. That's going to be key here. Now, Zach, I know you ran the Noble Can-Am series last season. That was effectively a road racing series with these particular race cars. I think our races were only about 60 minutes as opposed to this 90-minute race, but talking about tires, what is going to be the strategy? Are they going to need to take tires in this race so they can get away with maybe just right sides or none for that matter?
It's a real possibility of just being able to take 2 tires and being fine, but boy, you look at that temperature, and I don't know, we've seen a lot of races this year where that temperature means a lot. Anything over that 100-degree mark really seems to chew up these tires. So 90 minutes is a pretty long race here, Steve. I don't know, we might have to take 4 tires here, maybe even just, halfway and one and done.
Timmy Schofield missing the chicane there just a bit, has to come to a stop, or does he? Might have had the slow down penalty. He's going to have to shed a little bit of lap time because he did skip that last corner. Kevin McCann still out in front. He's put about a 2.25 seconds on brother Brian in P2. Chris Mefford still running in the 3rd position. Some positions have changed up here as Brandon Mefford runs in the 4th spot. He's up a position. Garrett Johnston also up 1 spot. He took that away from Josh Funkhauser about a lap or 2 ago. Funkhauser has shed 2 spots since we took the green flag. Brent Butler running in the 7th spot, right where he started. Mike Cook, Tim Schofield, Kyle Turzak already up 5 spots in position number 10.
Yeah, he's not wasting any time coming up through this field.
Currently 4 laps complete here from the Charlotte Roval. Again, a timed race. As we get to about our halfway point, we'll switch over. Instead of showing lap count, we'll go switching to the time remaining. See the topping or scoring ticker. It says lap 4. That will switch eventually to a time value. Butler back in that 7th position.
Well, Steve, we're 5 laps into this race already, and boy, it's been awfully clean so far.
Very clean race. Right to be where I expected these drivers to be. I know we've got a lot of them out here that just aren't attuned to running on-road courses, but they're getting it done. They've put in some practice to at least be consistent and clean. I know we talked to Brandon Mefford after the race the other night, and Mefford was not looking forward to coming to this road course. He seemed downright disappointed that we were running a road course, but here he is. He's running within the top 5, having a solid start to this race.
I don't know, Steve. I think deep down Brandon really likes road courses.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but he does tend to perform at least halfway decent, and he does come out and run with us on occasion when we have something related to road racing. Maybe it's just to hone his craft and try to get better, or well, maybe, like you said, maybe he's a closet road course fan.
That's a perfect way to put it. No, that's the easiest way to get better at road courses, though. Just get out there, get the track time in.
Yeah, seat time is key. It doesn't matter really what it's in either, because I had found that coming into iRacing as a new driver a couple of years back, I had a lot of experience on road courses in road-type vehicles, but it was on different types of simulations, or even games for that matter, whether it was Gran Turismo or Forza, Project Cars, things like that. You do learn how to get the job done on a road course in doing that. I guess you could say the fundamentals are relatively the same, but they do cross over pretty well to a stock car, whether it's a late model stock, a NASCAR Cup Series car, the Gen 6, the next gen, or even the truck. The fundamentals of road racing still apply, even if you don't have a lot of downforce or really big tires and things like that. There's a lot to be learned, but seat time is the best way to do it.
I'd say the best thing that I learned from road course racing, especially when I started out with iRacing, was trying to drive on that razor's edge of out of control. You know, on a road course, you're coming out of a lot of these turns sideways, trying to get the power down. And like you said, Steve, it does relate to oval racing. If you come off, a banked corner sideways, your instinct will kick in. If you're turning those laps and you know how to catch it, you're not just going to kind of overcorrect and put it in the wall. It just gives you that extra little chance to come out of it.
Meanwhile, we saw Terzak just scrape the wall a tiny bit on the exit.
Oh, misses the chicane here, Steve.
This is the backstretch chicane. Terzak's going to lower down. He had a good pace going. He was up into the 8th position. We did see in practice, though, he was battling with Brian McCann, just kind of working on, I don't know, some passing practice, and he had a problem in the bus stop on the back straightaway and ended up putting it in the fence. Terzak's slow on the bottom of the racetrack. I'm not sure if he's coming to pit lane.
I think he is. I think he might have got some wheel damage on that right contact. The way he weaved the car after the contact back and forth, I think he was trying to see if he was straight. I don't think he is. It's hard to tell from the outside of that car.
I think it's the right rear. If slight bit, the right rear looks to be a little bit towed out.
Yeah, he's having a hard time even getting in that box.
Tops up the fuel, probably took the faster pair as well. I think he's going to stay on the lead lap here, but he's got a tall order. Luckily for him, he's going to get a caution here in about 20 minutes when the stage comes. Should be able to stay on the lead lap.
Yeah, it definitely helps that this track is so big. Might as well come in, get the repairs done right now, and kind of start over at the second stage there.
Meanwhile, a moment ago, Mike Cook had an issue out on the racetrack. Let's take a look what happened here in the 00. Was it just a simple off track, or did he really wad the thing up? A little loose on entry, scrapes the inside wall, and around it goes. Does he get her locked down? And he stays off the wall for a second trip. But there you have it.
It's just so easy to do.
Terzak finds himself back in 17th now. He started 15th, worked his way up to 8th. As you saw, he did get into the wall. May have damaged the right rear of that race car. It didn't seem like a significant amount of contact, but clearly enough to hurt the old 51 in the handling of that race car. Meanwhile, back out front, Kevin McCann still in command of this race and well in command. He's got almost 4 seconds on brother Brian. And Kevin's fast just about everywhere we go, but when it comes to McCann versus McCann, on road courses, usually we'll see that double 3 run away from his brother. It's usually a 1 and 2 type situation, as Brian tends to be faster than most guys on road courses as well. But Kevin is in a different ball club, different area code altogether. And I'm not knocking on Brian McCann when I say that, because he'll say the same thing.
Yeah, thinking back to some of the most fun races I've ever had here on this sim, I think of Watkins Glen in the trucks. I forget what series it was for. I'm guessing Noble. And it was both McCann's and myself trying to get those things around the Glen, and man, it was just so tight. It was nice, tight, clean running, and these guys are really fun to race with.
9 laps in, 12 minutes in. In fact, we'll switch over to the time right now. It's a countdown clock. So as you see us get to the 1 hour to go, that'll be our first stage. Kevin McCann out there just turning laps. Sunday drive, per se. Zach, you saw how close he got to the wall on the exit of that chicane there, right at start-finish. We're talking a couple of inches between himself and that barrier.
Yeah, again, as we saw with Kyle Terzak, man, it doesn't take much. Just a little scrape in the wrong spot, and your whole race is flipped upside down.
Chris Mefford, the number 46, running in that 3rd position. Again, that's where he started this race. Brandon Mefford in 4th. You know, if Terzak can continue to run the way that he is and stay out of trouble, we talked about it in the open, just prior to his race going green. He's got to take care of the race car, not beat it up. If he can do that, he still has a shot at this. He stayed on the lead lap even though he had to make that pit stop. He's worked his way through the pack. He's back to where he started this race in P15. Stage break coming up here in about 16 minutes, so that'll give everybody a chance to regroup. Maybe Terzak pits again. Maybe he doesn't. Now that he's got fuel, and maybe he's got enough to go to stage 2 at 100% fuel load. That could be the case. He could leapfrog everybody here. I don't know.
Yeah, it's another thing to think about, too. You know, you get close to the end of these stages and you're still back here in traffic. Maybe it's worth coming in.
Oh, the 84 gets in the fence. Matt Kopp.
Boy.
That was close.
That was a tough hit, man. This thing's got to be hurt pretty good.
We're going to rewind it here. I don't have a quick button I can click on that one just because it wasn't as significant an impact as you would think, but it looks like Chris Wally might have got into him there. We'll watch it here on exit again. Just drives it up the track. Yeah, Wally does kind of door slam him there on exit, assuming that he wasn't going to be there, but Kopp just slowed so significantly.
And you hate to see it, too, because Kopp was just trying to give Kyle some room there.
Yeah, he's hurting.
Big time.
Matt Kopp's going to pull it to pit lane here, trying to get some repairs made. They do have one fast repair tonight. We got Alfie Sharon in the stream chat. Says McCann Brothers out front on a road course. I've seen this before.
I think we all have, Alfie.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
You got
the McCann Brothers. Go ahead, Steve.
Katie Klein says, love that 51 car. Uh-oh. Matt Kopp calls it a night. He's had enough.
Oh, man.
Kevin McCann still out in front. Still about 14 minutes shy of our stage break. Zach, I know we talked about track temperature and the weather conditions playing a part in tire decisions. I want to say, again, it's not a direct comparison just because we ran 60 minutes. This race is 90 minutes. There was a lot of races where we didn't take tires at all. That was just the game. That was the way to go, just mainly because 4 tires takes so long to complete that tire change. Again, non-competitive pit crews here in the late model stock series. The same guys that work on the race car, the same guys that are going to fuel it and put new tires on. So you're looking 23 seconds or so to change 4 tires. That's a lot of track position to give up if you don't necessarily need it. In many cases, we would look, in practice, where am I beating up the tires the most? Is it right front, right rear? And then you'd focus on that corner of the race car during the race. Okay, if I'm absolutely forced into taking a set of tires, where am I going to take it? Sometimes, maybe we pit the car on the left side, pit wall, but we'd still change left sides only. Not necessarily the way to go on every racetrack, but it just depends on, all right, well, how many corners to the left, how many corners to the right? Kind of make up your decisions from there. Now, Zach, I know you were running the super late model in that particular series, so that's likely to burn off the rear tires much more than these late model stocks. Power differential pretty significant between this and the super late.
Yeah, most of the season I was just kind of hoping and praying I could just change the back tires and I would have been perfectly fine with that. But yeah, with this car, I mean, on a track where you're kind of even with your lefts and rights, you could alternate it on these stops too. Your first pit stop, come down, take your rights. Next pit stop, come down, take your lefts. But it just all comes down to the temperature and how much wear you're putting into these tires per lap.
Kevin McCann still out in front, 18 minutes complete here from the Charlotte Roval. You see the 77 of Zachary Cleek slow at the top of the racetrack. He's going to go down a lap to the race leader. We're going to step aside here, get our first HBR TV side-by-side break out of the way. Stay with us. We'll be back after this. You won't miss a thing.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Charlotte Motor Speedway on the Roval here this afternoon for the IROC Challenge Series race number 10. About 8 minutes shy of the end of our first stage. Kevin McCann's led every lap to this point. Still out in front. 8.5 seconds ahead of second place Brian McCann. Putting on a clinic so far.
Yep, absolutely. The McCann and McCann show so far tonight.
With that said, Zach, I mean, if you're used to this, I mean, you go out a lot of cases, there's just nobody that can hold a candle to your pace at these road courses in most scenarios, especially when you throw it into a stock car or a truck for that matter. But when you know you're that far ahead, pace-wise, and you're going to be, as Kevin McCann's out 9 seconds now, knowing that we got a stage break coming, the caution's going to come out, do you kind of pedal it a little bit and slow your pace down, just save the stuff? Does that change your strategy, knowing that you can kind of, I don't know, drop the hammer at any point, just take off?
Yeah, it kind of depends, you know, on the vehicle, I guess. If you're more of a stock car type vehicle, you know, the more gas you save, the less time you're going to be sitting on pit road. So, yeah, I'll be pedaling it as much as possible. I wouldn't be going into like hardcore safe mode or anything if I don't have to. But I don't know. I think this is kind of a trial run here to see what these tires are going to look like. And if they got to change 4 tires, then I guess it's going to be kind of even playing field here. But I don't know, Steve, if you're Kevin McCann or even Brian McCann here with the gap on the rest of the field, I just don't see not taking 4 tires.
See, it's funny because I'm kind of the opposite mindset. I mean, I know Kevin's fast. He's got that big lead, but again, the caution's going to come out. It's not like he's going to make this pit stop under green where he's got that extra padding time-wise, but here we see it. Kevin McCann's losing ground. I don't know if he was trying to get through some lap traffic. The 99 hits pit road. That's Jarrett Wiedner. But McCann was up 9.5 seconds. Now it's less than 8. I don't know if he got held up.
Yeah, probably just slowed his pace up a little bit to pass the lap car in a better spot, I think.
It's really cost him a lot of time. It's 7.4 seconds. I know he's still got a pretty healthy advantage. Got Jesse Renning in the stream chat talking in code.
Yeah, I don't know, Steve. What do you think that says?
I don't know. I think it's Navajo.
I think so too, yeah.
It's very dense, whatever it is. Interesting to see some of these pit stops taking place. Jarrett Wiedner now leaving the pits after completing his pit work. I don't know if he's just trying to short pit the stage. Is that kind of a strategy you think he's playing here? He's already lapped down.
Yeah, I don't know. I think with 100% fuel, I think it'd be smart if you're anywhere in the back of this field to come in and pit before the stage, you know, before the pit lane closes, and maybe stay out during the stage break and get some track position here.
Katie Klein in the chat asking if the McCanns and Medfords are all brothers. McCanns, Brian and Kevin, yes. Medfords, Chris and Brandon, also yes.
It makes it really economy friendly on the IROC after parties where everybody can hop in, you know, carpool together.
Fun fact, we think me and Zach might be related. We just haven't confirmed it yet.
This is true. This is true. Multiple occasions it's been brought up.
Chris Wally's in the pits, trying to shorten up his opportunity here. We'll see what happens if the caution comes out. You know he's going to stay on the racetrack, but under green, he's going to take right side tires. And does he opt for 4? He is. I don't know if I like this strategy call for the 51 of Chris Wally. I know it puts him in a position here to stay on the racetrack when the caution finally does come back out, but that's a lot of time on pit lane. Track temp still nice and warm, 121 degrees Fahrenheit. So maybe it's the right call. I don't know, Zach, what do you think?
Boy, I don't know. How are we looking after this? Is there another stage break, or are we running right to the finish?
So we got stage breaks at the 30-minute mark and the 60-minute mark. So we got one more after this.
I think whatever you see these guys do right now is what they're going to do again. They're just going to repeat the process and try to better their track position for that last and final stage.
Let's check in on Kyle Turzak once again. He has gotten into the wall another time. He's got some right front damage on the 051, though he has still managed to work his way back into the top 10. So Turzak, even without the help of the caution, gets back into the 10th position. He may have some work to do to get that car fixed, though. Unless it's driving okay, maybe he's not too worried about it.
Yeah, it looks pretty banged up, doesn't it, Steve? Kind of on both sides there, even.
Right front definitely does not look happy by any means. The right front tire is exposed, which all in all might actually translate to a good thing. It's going to keep a little bit more fresh air on that tire. Left front's a little exposed, so you're right. I think you've called that one on the head there. It's left front and right front damage. As long as it's handling okay. His last lap was 1:25.56, only about 4/10 off of Kevin McCann right now, so it seems to be doing okay.
It's just one of those things, though, after your fast repairs spent, you know, how careful do you drive it? You know, you got a long race left, and it's razor's edge out here.
Yeah, even with that damage, he was the third fastest car on the racetrack that last lap, so he's doing okay.
You know something else too, Steve? He could benefit from coming down pit road during these stage breaks. You know, he could probably get a ton of that damage fixed just sitting on pit road with how big this track is.
But does he need to? I mean, we're riding on board here, looking at the driver's eye camera. Got a camera that's built into the helmet of the driver. So he's trying to get around Chris Wally here, but the steering wheel looks relatively straight. My only concern with Turzak here is, granted, the wheel is straight, but how much more damage is that part of the race car going to be able to take, you know?
Especially with hitting these curbs like they do. You know, they really abuse these things, hitting these curbs. And I don't know, I just feel like any sort of damage is just going to worsen that.
I know we didn't see a whole lot of that becoming an issue in the Noble Can-Am series on the road courses with these same race cars, but we did see it. It wasn't a lot. We had a couple of instances where drivers would just jump over the curbs. I think it was actually Mark Thomas at Watkins Glen, that initial curbing that you pretty much drive the whole race car over on entry.
Be ready with, there you go.
He hit that and damaged the race car, and it really hurt him. But caution on the Speedway.
Right here, I'm sure.
This will be for our stage break. Kevin McCann still at speed. He's going to have to catch the pace car here, and it's going to take him some time just based on when they threw the yellow. It was one of the concerns that the race officials had, was how long it would take everyone to get caught back up.
Yeah, and you see that a lot with these road course races. It's just such a big track, and the field just gets so spread out. I'm trying to tell if the pit road is closed, though, Steve. I see a couple cars on pit road. I don't know if they're just going to take the penalty, get some work done while they can, or what's going on.
Pit road is closed. I know that they won't technically open it back up until the leader gets close enough to the pace car to warrant opening pit lane. With that said, I mean, if Kevin McCann were to stay behind the pace car for an extended period of time but not get close enough, he could keep it under yellow the whole race.
Oh, man.
I don't see that happening, but...
You never know. That pace car might be out there running 123s.
Yeah, right? It is a Porsche. It probably could run competitive laps by comparison.
Oh, yeah.
It would eat him up on the straightaway, but as soon as it got time to hit the brakes...
Game over.
But there it is. McCann now in behind the iRacing Porsche pace car. It would be an interesting thing to try and see if you could figure that out. Put up a session and see what you can do. See how long you can keep the pace car out in front, or if it would even work. If the pits would never open. I don't know. We got to try that sometime.
Yeah, we might have to give that a try. I'll be around tonight. We might have to do that after.
Yeah, right. Justin Kivette, hopefully I'm saying that right in the IROC chat. Thanks for checking in there, Justin. He says, Kyle's doing pretty good, but I think you should stick to ovals. I think he's talking about Kyle Turzak. Turzak's been fast. He had one issue early on. If you're just coming into this, Justin, he went from 15th up into the top 10, got a piece of the wall. I think it was through turn 7 on the exit of 7. Smacked the right rear in the fence, had to come to pit lane immediately following to get some repairs made. He slipped back outside, I think it was to 17th. Drove his way back into the top 10 a second time. This all in this first stage. So we'll see what he can do here now that the field is bunched back up. Maybe Kyle's had some opportunities to get some more repairs made. He's still trying to get caught up though, so we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, he does have the 3rd fastest lap here tonight, just behind the McCann, so he's definitely got the pace out there.
Katie Klein says, not at Watkins Glen in a few weeks, please. I'm not really sure I understand what you're saying, but I would go to Watkins Glen every single week if given the opportunity.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I think, is that for LSR Cup, I think, in a few weeks? I think that's what Katie means. And, yeah, I can't wait for that.
Well, Lone Star Racing is going to run the Glen on April the 4th. That'll be here live on HBR TV. It's 45 laps, so that's half the distance of an official Cup race.
It's a shame. I was hoping it was 90.
Yeah. Kevin McCann in the pits, so is Brian McCann. Right side tire change in process. Four tire change. Imagine that, Zach.
Perfect.
Props to Jack. Kevin McCann down and away. Let's see if we can get a word with Kevin McCann, our stage winner, though he's not concerned about points. Let's see if we can pull Kevin in the booth. I got to find him here. Let's see if he's even in the chat. Indeed, he is. Race Channel 3 for Brian McCann. We'll pull him up and get a word with our stage winner. Kevin, it's Steve and Zach in the HBR TV booth. You got us?
Yeah, how's it going?
It's going well, Kevin. Well for you, as we can see. You've led every single lap of this race to the point of this stage break. I know you're not out here for points, looking for a trophy. What's the strategy call for the rest of this race, knowing we've got one more stage here in about a half an hour?
Just pedal to the middle. I mean, good on fuel, tires aren't a problem, so just go fast. That's the strategy.
I want to go fast. I guess that's the strategy, so we're going to try and make that happen. Kevin, again, a nice job here. We'll see if you can hang on to the end. No threats from your brother?
I'm sorry, the in-game chat was going on. What'd you say?
Well, we're wishing you the best of luck here at the end of this race. Do you think your brother's got a chance here?
He's talking some weird strategy he's got going on. He's talking smack in Discord, so we'll just wait and see.
All right, Kevin. Well, good to see you out there. Congratulations again, and wish you the best of luck the rest of the race.
All right, thanks.
It's Kevin McCann, your stage winner.
Well, Steve, that answers a big part of this race for both of us here about those tires.
Well, we knew tires weren't going to be an issue. I mean, they've got unlimited sets, but, I mean, he did take 4. I was still surprised to see that being the case. But when you're as quick as Kevin and Brian and even Chris in this instance, you can kind of take that risk. Screw it. Let's bolt on 4 tires. If somebody takes 2, we're going to chew them up anyway. I mean, that's the reality of it. If you got pace on a road course versus a lot of guys that just don't do it or aren't that great at it, you can take bigger gambles as far as your pit strategy, knowing that you're going to have the pace and the tire advantage on top of it to go and attack after the fact.
Yeah, and I think that last stage is going to be the most beneficial for, say, Kevin. He's going to have if he's still out front, he has a pretty good gap. He's going to be able to come down and take his 4 tires and get out of pit lane before anybody even catches him.
Justin Cavett in the stream chat on the IROC TV side once again. He says, talking about Kyle Turzak. He's my cousin, so I'm just talking trash. Just texted him the same thing. It amazes me, these guys that can check their phones or even type into our stream chat while racing. I can barely verbally speak to anyone during a race.
I tell you, Steve, the Noble Gen 4 Cup race we just had recently at Watkins Glen, next time you talk to Brian McCann, ask him about that, because I was trying to change Discord channels on my top monitor, and I was on the straightaway, and I glanced up for maybe half a second, did it, looked back at my screen, and my car was sideways underneath the flag stand in the
I was going to say, this was out of turn 11 that we saw this. We caught that live on the broadcast.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it doesn't take much to, get it in the wall with these things.
Well, we are 38 minutes and change into this race. Pace car lights are out as we work back to the NASCAR turn number 1. Next time by, we'll be back racing here from the Charlotte Roval. That should give us, I would say, about 21 minutes to the next stage. So a much shorter stage by almost a third. We should have about the same length to the finish. So about 21 minutes, depending on the cautions. Well, there won't really be any cautions. I know we're on local yellow, and they're going to wave this off. So they're going to go another lap. We still got some drivers here on the main straightaway, 3-4 cars trying to get caught up to the tail of the field. So they're going to wave this off, make sure everybody's where they need to be. I got to give IROC some credit on this because they do this quite a bit. If they don't have the field lined up the way they should be, they wave off the restart. They try to make sure that everyone has an equal opportunity, at least, to battle for position, work their way through the field. If the green flag comes out, these guys are a third of a lap behind. That's just, it's an unfair disadvantage. I know they're back there for a reason, but still, the caution's supposed to let everybody get grouped up, and, well, that's what they're letting them do.
Yeah, you got to appreciate that, level playing field.
Now, I don't know if that has something to do with the fact that Chris Walley's a legitimate NASCAR official, and that's kind of how they play things in real life as well. Either way, whatever the reasoning behind it, I do like it. It's good to see these guys get doubled up, everybody that is, and whether they're lead lap cars or otherwise, they all should be there together. Pace car is in as we get ready to go back to the green flag.
Green.
Green flag waves back racing. Kevin McCann. Early jump. Ryan McCann all over the back bumper of the 33 through the first few corners, unable to maintain that deficit. Now it's a car length and a half, maybe 2 from Kevin McCann back to the 3 of Brian McCann. In through turns really 5 and 6.
He's putting the pressure on now.
And Zach, if you didn't notice, we went green anyway.
Oh yeah. I guarantee, Steve, that they checked with every one of those drivers that didn't catch up yet, and I guarantee they all said, "Yep, send it, go for it. We're all set."
I think everyone except for maybe Matt Kopp was caught up at that point in time, so they delayed the restart, but then they quickly took that back and they went green flag racing, which is good to see. Nevertheless, that means more action on the track and less pacing around it behind the pace car. I gotta say, Zach, your lap was definitely faster than these guys out here, but watching Kevin McCann turn laps here at the Roval, he seems a little bit smoother. He's not abusing those curbs anywhere near as much as you were.
Oh yeah. When you tell me to go out there and go fast, That just means go jump some turtles. So. And it worked.
Kevin McCann, fastest lap of the race, 1:23.96 the last time by. First driver to crack below that number post-qualifying. Remember, they were 1:24 in the qualifying sessions. Chris Wally's in trouble, or was he? This may have been just a lap ago. See what happened to the 51. Nothing serious, though. Missed the back straightaway bus stop. Has to pay that slowdown penalty. Oh, Brian McCann in trouble. Brian misses the bus stop. Did he have some help? We'll watch it again here, the replay of Brian McCann down the backstretch. Oh, just upset the balance of the race car. Gives it a short half spin. See, Zach, you'll probably tell us the same thing, but those curbs, if you hit them in just the right way, it helps turn the race car effectively. It puts a lot of weight on the turning wheel at the front of that car. The problem is if you hit it less than gingerly or not how you had planned, it helps it a little bit too much. I think that's kind of what happened here with Brian McCann, is it sent him around, or at least halfway around.
And I mean, the point of gingerly to disaster is about 2 inches. It's pretty hard to nail every time. You know, I gotta give a shout out to Brian McCann here. When he did kick it out sideways there, he let it roll. He didn't lock up the brakes and, you know, sit in traffic. So he gave him his best chance to get back going again too, but stay out of the way at the same time.
We did just see Brian McCann hit the wall there on the exit of turn 7. Very similar to what we saw Kyle Turzak do at the earlier stages in this race. We'll have to see if Brian McCann had sustained any damage to the race car from that small impact. It was very light appearing for Kyle Turzak early on, but it was certainly enough to hurt his race car. Speaking of Turzak, though, he's up into the 5th position since the restart, working on the back bumper of Brandon Mefford, about a car length off of the 83 as they come back to this final chicane at the main straightaway. Turzak really has a great entry into that chicane, closes the gap to a half car length, takes a look to the inside, outbrakes Mefford down into turn number 1. Side by side, though, through turn 2, a quick left-hander, just threads the needle a bit, still alongside, not quite clear. Brian McCann certainly not damaged. He's closed the gap back on the 83 as these two do some battle. Turzak gets clear, he's up to 4th.
Well, Brian McCann's going to benefit from that pass as well as he throws it in the inside of Mefford.
Again, Brandon Mefford not a fan of road racing, but he can hold his own. He was doing okay there. He's still inside the top 10, just outside the top 5 as Brian McCann hits the wall again in that same part of the racetrack off turn 7.
I got to say it, Steve, is the worst spot in the track. The way your car just goes from, you know, left to right, and it just throws you in that wall. It's awful.
And the unfortunate thing about it is you really have to push the car through that part of the racetrack to gain time each and every lap. You got to maximize, use every inch of that racetrack. And like you just said, oh, Mefford goes around. Out of the bus stop in the backstretch, very similar to what happened to Brian McCann a lap ago.
It's a hard turnaround right there, too.
Get a better look at it. And Brandon Mefford now in behind Brian McCann. Now, a little bit different. He caught the exit wall there and slid it up the racetrack.
Well, let's hope he didn't sustain too much damage on that.
Well, as you see it, he is still on the racetrack. Seems to be okay. We'll see if he can regroup. Chris Wally having a problem here on the back straightaway again as well. Let's see what happened here to the 51. He just miss it. Yeah, he knew he was going to miss it. Decided to bail out and drive through.
Did a pretty sick wheelie, though.
I think it's got a whole lot more negative camber than he planned on now, too.
Yeah, possibly.
So what does that mean? I know there's some guys out there that know exactly what I mean when I say negative camber, but for those that might be novices to racing or just cars in general, camber is a suspension adjustment. Now, effectively, if you're in the race car and you're looking through the body of the race car, say you can see the front tires, and they're vertical, up and down, right? Right. Well, if you got negative camber, you're taking the top of that tire and you're tipping it inward towards the engine compartment. The reason you do that is you go through the corners, you load up the left or the right side of the race car, and it puts the contact patch of the tire more flush with the racetrack, more flat on the racetrack. You might be only on the inner edge down the straightaway, but in the corners, it provides the maximum amount of grip when the suspension loads up. It flattens that tire out as far as making good contact with the surface of the track. Did I explain that okay, Millet? Do you think the novice?
Yeah, I thought it went pretty well.
Think the novices get it?
And you could really see the negative camber in the front wheels when these cars are coming down the straightaway, especially I think on the camera on the front straightaway.
Meanwhile, Kevin McCann, well, to no one's surprise, continues to lead. He's led every lap to this point. Chris Mefford running in that second position. And Chris Mefford definitely not known for his road racing, but again, he is known to take care of his equipment throughout the course of a race. He can be aggressive when he needs to be. He can be gentle on the race car when he needs to be. Right now, it's time to be gentle. Chris Mefford doing a good job of that, taking care of his stuff, running in that second position. Driving the race car to get the finish that the car is capable of getting. That is the main thing you need to do in a lot of these series if you want to be successful. If you got a top 5 car at a particular racetrack, make sure you finish top 5.
Yep, doesn't reward a lot if you got a top 5 car and you go too hard and finish outside the top 15.
Kyle Turzak closing in on Garrett Johnston. This would be a battle for the third spot. And Turzak with a big run gets to the inside for a moment, a little loose on the exit of turn 4. Takes another look in 5. Another quick right-hander in 6. This is a tough one. It's relatively blind uphill. Turzak still with damage. Looks like all 4 corners of that car is bent in now. He's still got pace, though, and he's running ahead of Brian McCann.
See if he gets any kind of draft down the straightaway to make a dive into this chicane. It's going to be tight.
Turzak a little loose on the exit of that backstretch chicane. It's Johnston, Turzak, and McCann, 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Big wheelie for Brian there.
Yeah, McCann lost a lot of time out of that bus stop, or that final chicane here in the front straightaway.
Yeah, I think Katie hit the nail on the head here. This has been a great battle for third so far. This is, it's fun watching Kyle try to put the power down a little early and get side by side.
Yeah, I'm not following Katie's comment on 21st. There's only 19 cars in the race. So I don't know if I missed something. I'm sure I said something that made it relevant, but I can't recall. Memory's going away with the old age there, Zach.
Oh, man. Well, I'm in big trouble then, if that's the case.
Yeah, you're nowhere near in trouble yet. Turzak's just having fits trying to get around Garrett Johnston. He seems to have the pace, but can't find an opening to get by. Back into the front stretch chicane. Turzak turns in just a little bit sooner, trying to get an angle on the 15, but nothing doing there.
Just going to dive it here. He's close enough. There it is.
Oh, locks up the left front just a bit. Almost gets into the 15 of Johnston there, but manages to stay off contact.
These guys are pushing, Brandon.
Great battle for position, though. This is for the third spot as we continue to watch Garrett Johnston, Kyle Turzak fight for that position. 8 minutes away from our next stage break. This stage has really clicked by in a hurry, as we expected it would. Got Drew Blaze in the chat, says, I'm just here to see Millet wreck. Oh, wait.
Well, I'll see if they'll let me in that pace car here for this last stage, Drew. We'll give it a go.
Drew, thanks for jumping in, man. Do appreciate it. Oh, Katie Klein says, it's where I finished on Thursday. Well, is it Katie in the chat or is it Chris? I don't know.
Chris, did you hack your wife's YouTube account? Yeah, if it's Chris, I know he's excited for Watkins again.
Just don't tell me it's a joint account.
Oh, no. No, no. People still do that.
Yeah, they do. Right on board with Garrett Johnson. He's still trying to defend against Kyle Turzak.
You see that other car looming in the distance, coming back.
You know, Brian's, I don't know, he lost some ground and he really hasn't really shrunk that deficit since. I don't know if he's got a problem or if he's just trying to wait for the stage to be over and regroup.
Well, it's probably because these two cars are battling. Brian did beat those cars by a second that last time around.
So I think it is Chris Klein in the chat. It says, it won't let me make my own. We'll help you with that, Chris.
Hashtag joint account.
He might have said she won't. I think he meant to say she won't let me make my own. Just playing, Chris. So Raymond Turzak in the chat. You know, I was wondering about this. He's in the IROC TV chat. He says, Kyle turned 15 a couple days ago. Now it all makes sense.
Really?
And I mean that with all due respect, because some of these young kids coming up through iRacing, the teenagers, they have so much pace. Turzak, even in his interviews, I was not even 100% sure. Okay, maybe he's a young kid, maybe he's not, but well, he must be. He just turned 15, and he is lights out fast.
Yeah, getting Michael Tucker vibes here.
Well, that's
Steve.
what I was thinking.
These...
You know, the difference is Turzak can save his stuff. Oh, Turzak gets the wall, though. And there's Brian McCann. I don't know if he was looking in his mirror and just didn't keep that wheel turned long enough.
I know we've said it a few times, but I hope that damage didn't affect that 051, but I don't think he did. He's already back to his bumper.
On board with Brian McCann.
I think Chris has got a good point, man. I think when Brian hit that curve and wheelied it coming to the start-finish line, he kind of checked up. It kind of shocked him there.
But now I think Brian's trying to get some more stage points because he knows he's got to get past Turzak here. Try and get a little bit more points than the 051 because Kyle's been just so strong and dominant this season.
Ooh,
locks him up at the bus stop, yep.
Oh, it's going to be a great finish here.
4.5 minutes before the stage ends.
This finish will almost be as good as the LSR Michigan finish. I can almost hear Chris Klein laughing.
Drew Blaze in the chat. These kids and their damn cat-like reflexes.
Yeah.
Turzak to the
Here's a
inside.
dive right here.
No, still not enough.
It's just too shallow of an entry, Steve. You just can't power through. But here comes Brian.
Yeah, he overdrove turn one big time. Opened up the door for Brian McCann, and he gets the wall hard. Drives the car up on the wall.
Oh, that's a hit right there.
That's going to hurt the car, I think. I think he might be in trouble now. Now, we got to go back earlier on here and make the determination. Did Turzak burn that faster pair earlier, or did he sit there and get it fixed?
This is a terrible spot to go too wide. Holy cow.
Wow.
He burned it. I'm pretty sure he burned it that first time, which he really had no choice. You know, he was so bent in the right rear that, I mean, the car wasn't even tracking straight. So
Well, McCann does get around Kyle Turzak here, and Turzak tries it way deep into the backstretch bus stop again. And he is just inches off that wall on exit. Turzak's quick. I don't care where you take him. Road racing may not be his thing, but he is certainly proving that he's got the skills, he's got the talent to perform and compete everywhere we go.
I just don't know how much more this car is going to be able to take.
No.
I think that thing, he might just have the tires so hot it's almost undrivable at this point.
A couple more minutes here, a lap or two. We'll have another stage break, give him an opportunity to cool things down, maybe change the tires, get some repairs made to that 051, make it a little bit more competitive than it currently is. Nevertheless, his average finish is still going to be like a 1.3 by the time the season's over.
Yeah, I guess that's pretty good.
Brian McCann, though, after his mishap on the back straightaway into the must stop, he's starting to regroup. He's up to the 4th spot, closing in on Garrett Johnston. We'll have to see if McCann can do anything with the 15. Granted, we've only got a couple of minutes left in this stage.
I'll tell you, Steve, this is where Brian McCann shines right here. I'm thinking he's gonna make this pass. He's gonna do it here, coming into this chicane. Nope, backs off it.
He's going to back up his entry to build the speed out of the exit.
Crossover here.
He almost got into him, though, loosened the car up on exit. That's going to kill some of that momentum, but maybe not all of it.
Oh, man, it's just so hard to stay side by side in this banking.
Yeah, McCann had the right idea for sure. If he didn't get loose on the exit of the chicane, I think he might have been okay, but again,
backs do the same thing here.
Yeah, backs the entry up into the front stretch chicane. Big time run on exit.
Still not quite there, though.
It's just not enough straightaway there to do anything with it.
But see, Brian definitely knows the way, to get around somebody on the road course. Backing up the entry, focusing on the exit, and not just diving it in.
What's the line? Slow in, fast out.
And then hope to God.
McCann certainly living by those words here. Slow into the corner, fast on exit. To break that down, Millett started to get into the topic of it, but you basically lift and get on the brakes a little bit sooner than the driver you're racing against so that you can get back to the gas a little bit sooner than the driver you're racing against. And typically, if there's a straightaway at the end of that corner, you can carry that speed and that added momentum all the way down, set you up for a good pass at the end of it. It's most notable here in this circumstance down the back straightaway into that backstretch chicane. Now McCann not close enough to do anything with it, so he's going to back up his entry again and then drive through. Try this yet another time. He's got a better exit, looking to the inside. I don't know if he got on the brakes, checked up there or not. He was, maybe a foot off the back bumper of the 15.
Might be the last lap of the stage here, Steve. This might
Could
be the last
be, and there
chance
it
to
is.
pass.
Caution
yep.
out.
And I tell you, Steve, Chris Klein in the chat pointed this out, that Kyle Turzak did hit the wall again really harsh, and he actually towed to the pit lane this time.
Oh no, Turzak. Well, while we're under caution here, let's take a look, see what happened to the 051.
Through Blaze, 51 looks like he's taking an old-fashioned beating on the front end.
Oh yeah. It's
he's
more than the front
crab-walking.
end.
Well, that's what we were saying, how much more can that car take?
That's
That
a dog
thing's just
track.
beat. I think even if he got it to the pits, how long would that have taken to fix?
And you know what? I don't even see where that happened. I don't have any indicator of it, so unfortunately we're not going to see it. But yeah, Kyle Turzak had a really strong run, gave it his all here. He's not going to have a great finish, unfortunately. Kyle Turzak in the IROC TV chat. That was fun while it lasted. Kyle, it was fun watching, man. Even with a beaten and battered race car, you did a great job. You were up as high as 5th position there. I really think you had a shot at this one. I picked you. Thanks for letting me down.
I'll send you PayPal in 10 minutes.
Yeah, right. It's only the second race this season that Turzak has not won. And we're 10 races in. Still impressive. If anybody could have a mulligan, it's Kyle Turzak.
Absolutely. It's well earned at this point.
Well, even though Kevin McCann is putting on a clinic here, he's led every lap to this point. We're about 40 laps in. It's still been an exciting race to watch. Plenty of battles throughout the field. We watched that third place fight for quite some time. That was between Garrett Johnston, Kyle Turzak, and Brian McCann for quite a while. McCann finally got around Turzak, but I think his race car finally just took all it could handle. It does answer the question about that faster pair. Turzak did burn that one early on.
Well, Steve, if there's going to be any sort of strategy down pit lane, this is where you're going to see it.
Just got to make sure everybody's caught up here. We've still got a handful of drivers that haven't caught the rest of the field.
Yeah, there's a pretty good lineup coming. I think starting at about 6th place.
I think iRacing needs to have the ability to slow the pace car down.
Yeah, you know, I mean, how many times have we seen it at places like Sonoma? You know, it just happens every road course race, it seems like.
Well, you think about it, iRacing gives you the opportunity. You can either shorten the caution or lengthen the caution. You should be able to tell the pace car to ease up a little bit. You know NASCAR does it, especially on the road courses. You know, if they can slow the pace car down from, say, 65 miles an hour to 35 miles an hour, it's not like Formula One where they have to maintain a certain speed, otherwise the brakes catch on fire. But that way, they slow the field down, they can get everybody caught back up without adding a lap or two of additional caution laps that weren't necessary.
Right. Looks like we're going to get lucky here, and everybody's going to catch the field.
Well, either way, Zach, you got to write a letter to Boston.
Yeah, I'll get that going.
So pace car is out on the track. Everyone's caught up here. Pit road is open. Here comes Kevin McCann, Chris Mefford, Garrett Johnston, Brian McCann, Josh Funkhauser, Brett Butler, Timmy Schofield, Brandon Mefford, Mike Cook, Jarrett Wiedner. Top 10. Looks like everybody coming down pit lane. Chris Wally stays out. See if these McCann brothers take 4 or 2. It's going to be 4 for Kevin.
Looks like same for Brian.
Interesting.
I don't see anybody coming out, though. In first. Almost out first. Chris didn't stay out.
Track temp's still pretty hot, so I don't know. Like I said, in an hour race, we didn't change tires at all. You would think that they would be good to go.
Oh, was Chris Wally a lap down?
Yes, he was.
Oh, okay, that's why I stayed out.
But I think he got his lap back.
Right.
So now he's the last car in a lead lap in 12th. So during stage 2, we never did our HBR TV side-by-side, so we're going to have to bang that one out here pretty quickly. As soon as we go green, we'll jump to it right away, but just be glad that it's not a full-on commercial break, which we really don't run here much anymore at all unless it's post or pre-race. So you won't miss any of the action. In fact, I firmly believe you actually see more of the action during the side-by-side because it automatically cycles through the entire field. Anybody that's got a battle going on, you're going to see it. Katie/Chris Klein in the chat again says, went to the Roval last year, actually really enjoyed it. It was cool to be able to see the whole track and not just part of it. Well, don't come to the Glen then.
Yeah.
Granted,
yeah, we spent half the time at the Glen just migrating section to section.
but keep in mind, at the Glen, you've got multiple locations that have a giant screen in front of the grandstands. And in fact, they even put one in front of the campgrounds out of the carousel between 9 and 10. So you got one there, you've got one, I believe, in the S's. You've got one across from turn 2 in the bottom of the S's. Turn 1 has one as well, plus there's another one in pit lane for the front stretch. So And one in turn 11, so they're everywhere. And turn 10, yeah, there's a lot. I never really counted them. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there's 6 different jumbotrons at the Glen.
Yeah, it certainly helps. It keeps you in the action.
Drew Blaze says, someone needs to give Kevin McCann the business like I did to Millet at Michigan.
Yeah, I thought we were both dead at that time. I was happy we both made it out of there.
Those of you that didn't see that race can find it at HBR TV on YouTube. I think that was an LSR race, right?
It was, yeah, LSR Cup Series. Yeah, I tell you, that was one of my happiest moments probably this month when I cut across. When they were battling for the lead, I went to the apron and took it for about 3 seconds.
Catching up on the IROC chat, Kyle Turzak says, Daytona road course will be better. I'll make sure Kevin has some competition.
I can't wait for that one.
I really want to see those two go at it. Kevin is very good on these road courses, of course. Turzak is lights out on these ovals. Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. I was really hoping to see it tonight, just bad luck. I was worried about that when I saw Turzak not make a qualifying run. I'm still not sure what the mindset there was, if it was intentional or a requirement, but nonetheless, I think if he was able to turn a lap in qualifying, you got to assume he would have started within the top 5.
Yeah, I think he easily would have been top 5, if not top 3 maybe.
Working lap 42. 1 hour and 9 minutes into this 90-minute race. Chris Klein in the chat says the Glen is the best road course ever for NASCAR. I think you can drop the for NASCAR part. I know we're biased because we're New Yorkers, but Chris, if you've never been, man, it's a great racetrack. It really is. It's got a great environment. It's a very scenic part of the country and wine country of upstate New York. The parties are a blast. The track is great. Facilities are good. There's really not a part about it that I don't like.
Yeah, I tell you, Chris, if you ever want to take a road trip, come up to Watkins Glen for the weekend. It's the weekend I look forward to most every year. That and IMSA.
Yeah, Chris, if you do end up coming to the Glen, I'll feed you.
And he does a good job at that too, let me tell you.
Turzak says, I'll take it back. The old 51 on the Speedway. Well, that's true too. Justin Cavett says, it was all his mom's fault. All right. Justin, I want to hear the story as to why you're saying that, because it sounds like it could be good.
Absolutely.
Drew Blaze says NASCAR needs to replace COTA with the Daytona road course. I think those are both terrible decisions.
Oof. Maybe just run the Glen 3 times.
I say Road Atlanta.
Yeah, hey, that's an idea.
It's a road course in NASCAR country. It's a perfect mix.
Yep, I'm in for that.
Or if you're afraid about Atlanta sports, go to Virginia, VIR. That'd be a good one, too.
Well, you know, while we're at it, for the sake of argument, let's just throw the Nuremberg in there.
Well, then we'd have to leave the country. I don't know. I don't like
Be a
that.
hell of an HBR field trip.
Yeah, HBR field trip. Go to
I think
Nürburgring.
Brian Rose would pay for that, I think, for the good cause.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, COTA I'm not a big fan of. And honestly, the Daytona road course, I like it, but I do not like it for stock cars. It's just, I don't know. I especially don't like that added chicane they put off of turn number 4. I know it's very similar to what we have here at the Roval, but it's just 2 tracks you can't compare.
Yeah.
Oh, Turzak's, okay, now I get it. So Turzak's blaming his mom because he had to help her during qualifying. Come on, Kyle.
Oh. That's funny. He's back out on track, too.
You should tell her to make the meatloaf. You want it now.
Mom, the meatloaf.
Turzak is on the track, isn't he? Good for him.
Yeah, coming back out.
You know, a guy that truly does not need to He didn't need to start this race. But I give him credit for being here, continuing to run after getting that car fixed.
Yep. I think he's got, well, let's see, he's got 2 cars ahead of him on different laps, but you know how quick that can change. Even if you get 1 spot, it's worth doing.
Drew Prowl in the stream chat says, how about the Utah road course? Longest U.S. road course. Only bad thing is it's a flat textile track. I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I guess I'd have to see it. It's all dependent on what kind of racing it produces. Terzak goes, it's true. I'm not doubting it. Now that I know he just turned 15, I can just picture it now. Him sitting there at his rig, Mom coming in. I need you to go get this package. I can't pick it up. It's too heavy. I don't know.
I can see it.
Just a theory. All right, field coming to green here through the front stretch chicane. Barney is holding that green flag, pinned straight in the wind.
Flag.
Gets the command. Green flag back in the air. We're racing in stage 3. Kevin McCann out to a big lead already, almost 3/4 of a second. In fact, more than 3/4 of a second. Field working through turns 5, 6, now 7. One more quick left turn before they get back on a NASCAR oval, turn number 1. McCann up the racetrack, still holding a 3/4 second advantage over brother Brian McCann. McCann in second, Garrett Johnston running in the 3rd position. Looks like all drivers took 4 tires during this caution. They should be good to go all the way to the end.
Yeah, that 3rd place starting spot for Brian being on the inside really benefited him. Took second back pretty quick.
Somebody just blew up. I don't know who it was, but I heard the engine expire.
Oh. Is that Garrett Johnston?
It might have been.
I think it might be.
Garrett Johnston, slow mover, was running in the 3rd position behind Brian McCann, but the engine expires. I don't know if he had some pre-existing damage. The car looked pretty good.
I think it was maybe a money shift.
Car's still running, but it definitely sounds sick. Garrett Johnston, a strong run, going bad here with 15 minutes to go.
That was the spot in the track coming out of that chicane, Steve, where you would be going 2nd to 3rd, and you might have just went straight up into 1st.
Tough break for Garrett Johnston as he's out of this one. So now it's Kevin McCann, Brian McCann, Chris Mefford, your top 3. Kyle Terzak says, all I have is a desk. He's on a desk. He's a Ty Majeski of this land, isn't he?
Oh, man.
Well, I'll tell you this, Kyle. If you have an opportunity to start running some LSR special races, a lot of times they put up a rig for sale, a rig for prizes. If you can win the race, a lot of times you can end up with a simulation rig. There's a lot of guys already that still run over an LSR that have won that rig. Might be a good opportunity to pick one up for nothing.
Yeah, I think it's the GTR.
Yep. So with that, though, we keep chit-chatting here. We're going to take our final HBR TV side-by-side break with 14 minutes to go here from the Charlotte Roval. Kevin McCann leads, Brian McCann 2nd, Chris Mefford running in 3rd. We'll be right back.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
We're coming back early here. We got a battle for the lead, and it's Brian McCann trying to hold off brother Kevin. The first laps today that Brian McCann has led. First laps today that Kevin McCann has not led. Don't know what precipitated it. We didn't catch it during the break, but we'll see if we can find it here. Late stages of this race, you got to wonder if Brian McCann has been sandbagging here all night long. Let's go to it. Just a few moments ago, something amiss with the 33. I don't know if he just let him go.
I think he had a cut. I think he had a slowdown. I bet you rewinded to that chicane before that period, and I bet you he either cuts it or misses it completely.
I'm going to have to back it up. You're absolutely right. God, you guys know I hate doing this, but it is what it is. All right, so here it is. This is into the bus stop in the backstretch. He has the lead. That looked good. That looks good. That looks good.
This is strange.
He just jumps up top of the racetrack, slows down, lets Brian go by, and then gets back on the gas.
This could be a little brotherly love to let him lead a lap. Or maybe there's some kind of, family bet going on here. I don't know. He did say that Brian was talking some smack in Discord after the first stage.
Oh, he is trying, though. He is not trying to let his brother win this race. Kevin McCann wants to take this checkered flag. Brian McCann certainly wants to win this. Be a first win of the season for the 3. He certainly needs the points, but we'll see if Kevin lets him win this thing. I don't see it happening. The way he just drove turn number 1, I don't think he's trying to let him win at all.
Man, this is a spot we haven't seen Kevin McCann in, though. I mean, he's been the faster car all night long, but now he's got to be extra fast to get around Brian. I mean, it's one thing to ride behind somebody or catch somebody, but you got to pass him. That's a whole different thing.
Well, he's got 9 minutes to get it done as he runs in the tire tracks of brother Brian McCann. I'm going to wonder how much the dirty air is or is not affecting the 33. I know through this banked section of the racetrack it may come into play as they're running a pretty considerable amount of miles per hour. Closes the gap onto the brakes, though, into the backstretch chicane. McCann's right there.
And, Steve, I just don't know how awkward Easter dinner is going to be if Kevin gives Brian the chrome horn here for the win.
Yeah, especially since Kevin is here for one thing and one thing alone, and that's to win this race. He doesn't care about points. I think he may have run one race prior to tonight this season. He's just out here trying to collect the trophy.
That could be the reason, Brian's in the points running here, and if he can get a lap, let him get those bonus points, it's huge. But I don't know. It's going to be tough to get back around Brian. Passing Brian McCann is no easy task.
Even when you are faster, it's not easy to make a pass on Brian McCann, especially when you throw in the factor that it's at this road course here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Not a lot of passing opportunity. There are a couple. Those 2 chicanes are probably the best places to get it done, and maybe even into turn 1 if you got a good exit out of that front stretch chicane. We have seen Kevin McCann close the gap a couple of times there coming into turn number 1, but unable to get to the inside and really make a move. McCann really good on the brakes, locks him up just a bit on the entry to that backstretch chicane again, and Brian McCann, I don't know, I think that's kind of what Brian's line has been all night long, was to back up the entry and then have a good exit, and he clearly has a great exit there. I just kind of wonder, with Kevin McCann being out front for as long as he was tonight, he didn't get any opportunities to see what kind of line and what kind of braking points that Brian McCann was working with. That may have caused that lockup in the 33.
Yeah, I might have shocked him on how early Brian got to the brakes there, but I mean, it's so hard to ride behind somebody, especially this close. Kind of messes up your line.
Brian McCann got a piece of the wall there just a moment ago out of turn number 2.
That's something to be said too, Steve. I mean, look how clean Kevin's car is.
Well, that's just it. Stuff. I mean, Kevin hasn't had to fight with a whole lot of traffic here today. Yeah, he got into some lap cars, but it's not like Terzak, who started back, I think it was 15th. He had to fight through the field, and ultimately that's what got him into trouble. He had to hustle, I think he may have pushed the envelope a little harder than he needed to, considering we had a stage break at the 30 and 60 minute marks.
Yeah, Brian's got a really good exit coming out of there.
Well, that's just it. And really, I think Brian running the line in the braking zone that he's running, backing up his entry the way that he is, that's kind of killing Kevin McCann, because he either has to run the same thing that Brian is or run him over. I mean, those are his options, and he doesn't want to run him over. He's not here for points. He's here just to win this race. I'm sure he'd rather get this pass done clean than to dump his brother for a win when Brian's in contention, at least, for a championship. It's a tough dilemma.
I don't know, Steve. If I was Kevin, or if I was Brian and you were Kevin in this spot, would you do it?
Would I dump him?
Yeah.
I got to be honest, Zach, if you're in front of me in this situation, I'm not dumping you. If you're here for a title and I'm here for the race, I'm not. I don't operate like that.
Bigger picture. Bigger picture.
Now, if it's... Wow. I've been known to dump a couple of guys, but...
I was trying to think of his name.
Colt Ainsley.
Okay. Yep. Watkins Glen.
Two days in a row.
Oh, yeah, I forgot it was twice in a row.
I think it was ARCA and then Cup, and I won both races, but... He says he still owes me, but he sold all of his stuff, so I think I'm good.
Yeah, I was kind of... I think that Coda race was the nail in the coffin.
To be fair, it's not my fault he parked in the middle of the carousel.
Can't park there, sir.
Yep. Less than 4 minutes to go. Brian McCann continues to lead, and dare I say he's starting to put a distance on second place?
2/10 faster.
0.6 of a second back to Kevin McCann. I gotta wonder if Kevin overheated his tires trying to reel in his brother. He might have 2, maybe 3 laps left to try and get this done. Either way, if we get an opportunity here to talk to Kevin McCann post-race, we need to find out what happened down the back straightaway. I don't know if maybe he got a slowdown at a different point of the racetrack prior to that chicane, but it's really answering the question about clean air. It seems to be really important.
Yeah, it seems like that clean air is just, after every update that iRacing comes out with, it just gets more and more important.
Pretty sure we got 2 laps to go as we cross start finish here. Next time by should be the last lap of the race. As long as the clock is accurate. Don't want to end it a lap too soon like we did at the Daytona 24 this year.
Yeah, that was an awkward finish on that one.
You got 24 hours to get it right. Had one job. Couldn't pull it off.
Looks like the leaders are going to have a clear track for this finish, too. I don't see any lap traffic that's going to be in the way or hinder this finish.
Both McCanns into the banked turns 1 and 2 of the NASCAR Oval. Brian starting to stretch it out again, now a half a second back to Kevin McCann. We'll see if Kevin can close the gap on the brakes here into the bus stop. And man, big time. Brian's taking care of his stuff. Kevin is abusing his tires, trying to get down late breaker into the chicane. Now back into NASCAR 3 and 4. We'll see if he can close the gap again. If he gains the same amount of positions here, he'll be alongside Brian McCann into that front stretch chicane coming to the white. I think Kevin might have been saving his tires here for this last run. Oh, a little bit of contact. Kevin over the curbing in that final chicane is going to really open up the gap between the 3 and the 33.
Oh, that's a lot of ground to cover, Steve. I don't know. I mean, if anybody can do it, it'll be Kevin McCann, but that's a lot of ground.
We should have gotten the white flag across the line that time. I did not see it displayed, and I don't have an indicator that it was displayed. So we may still have 2 more laps. We'll see. We'll keep watching this battle here for the race lead. If Kevin McCann can really close it down, it's been stretched out to a full second now. It was a half second on the back straightaway, the last lap. Kevin gains another 1/10 and a half through that set of corners, gains and loses it all over again, but gains it back as they get back to the NASCAR oval.
I think this is the last lap, Steve. I'm pretty sure I saw Barney waving it.
Nevertheless, Brian McCann, a strong run, does not give up. Started outside pole with Kevin on the pole position. Kevin drives it deep into that backstretch chicane once again. He'll have one more opportunity. Does he use the bumper?
Boy. Watch the ground. Kevin's going to throw this baby into this last chicane. Watch the ground he's going to make up.
Final couple corners. Kevin McCann drives it deep, but not close enough. He misses the curb. No, he gets through there clean, but Brian McCann wins it. Kevin McCann finishes P2. Chris Mefford's going to come home in 3rd. Brian McCann, your race winner here from the Charlotte Roval. He's so good on this track on the oval side. Gets it done here today on the road course. Wow.
Heck of a run.
I got to tell you, though, I certainly did not see it going this way with the dominance that Kevin McCann showed here tonight.
Yeah, you know, everything kind of looked similar to the first 2 stages. You know, everybody came in, took 4. The pace looked about the same, but I don't know. I'm really looking forward to these interviews, Steve.
Brian out there still running competitive laps on the cool down. And here comes Brian McCann back to start finish to celebrate. First win of the season for Brian McCann. Gets it done here at the Charlotte Roval. Chris Mefford comes in to congratulate.
I was really kind of hoping Kevin would come and just park right on top of him here, but
We're going to step aside here and get our final break out of the way. Back with our top 3 finishers after this. Stay with us. Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC series, Kyle Steffens UMP Modified and Silver Crown Driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws late model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook.
R&R Racewear, your source to all custom racewear apparel needs, and home to iRacing apparel. Check it out today at rnrracewear.com.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
I met Marco.
Back at Charlotte Motor Speedway at the Roval for race number 10 of the IROC Challenge Series, Brian McCann brings it home first for the first time this season, beating out brother Kevin McCann and Chris Mefford. Kyle Turzak, nowhere to be found, finishes in the 17th position after some issues out on the track. He's not a road racer, folks. Had a good run going for a little while, but just wasn't meant to be tonight. See if we can pull Brian McCann up into the broadcast booth, get a word with our race winner. Brian, it's Steve and Zach in the HBR TV broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, I do. How's it going?
It's going good, Brian. Congratulations. An awesome race win here tonight. Kevin McCann was really the guy to beat here tonight. Dominant performance here, leading a lot of laps, all of them, or most of them for that matter. Walk us through what happened there. It looks like Kevin had somewhat of an issue on the backstretch, possibly in the chicane, had to slow up there on the NASCAR 3 and 4. You take the lead, but you were able to hold him off over a few challenges throughout the course of the last 8 minutes of this race. Tell us what happened there.
Well, it's a funny story. So at the beginning, the first 30 minutes, the first stage, he was really quick off the go, and he got up like 8-9 seconds, whatever. But at the very end, I was reeling him in. I was running faster than he was at the very end. So luckily for me, my talk button on my microphone, my steering wheel went out, so I had to voice open to their Discord. So everything I was saying, even my inner thoughts and whatever, was making it to them. And I was talking a bunch of crap in the radio. So Kevin decides he's going to let me over. He's going to let me by and get around me again, just to show me. I think that was what he was saying in Discord. And so I just got out front and ran like hell. So he couldn't get around me. I was slowing up in the corners so he couldn't get the run off. And yeah, I mean, I was putting a full block on there for most of the time.
We did see that actually quite a bit after you got by the 33. You were really backing up your entry and then driving out of the corners, especially in both the backstretch and front stretch chicanes. That's really where you excelled on the exit of both of those. We saw that not only with your brother Kevin, but earlier on in the race when battling with some other drivers, but it paid off for you. I know road course racing is something you're certainly good at. Oval seems to be your specialty, but you're certainly no slouch here. What kind of preparation did you put forth this week here to get ready for the Roval, if any?
No, I didn't put any in. I don't think Kevin did either. There's typically one thing you do in these cars. We have me and you and Zach, we got to have a lot of experience in these already from the Noble series that we run, road course in these cars. So that helped a whole lot here. If it would have been my first night.
Uh-oh, we lost him. Hang on.
Kevin was fast.
Lost you for a minute there, Brian. Backtrack about 5 seconds and try it again. If that were something.
Yeah, just I don't know where I left off at, but good race overall. Kevin was really quick, man. He took off and just went. So I think he had this race, but we battled it out there at the end. Some other people were really there with us too. And Mefford had a good showing. Both Meffords actually. I just saw the third and fourth. Yeah, man, good race.
Yeah, Chris Mefford started there in that third position and finishes in the third position, so a nice run for him. Brandon Mefford, we talked to him, I think it was yesterday actually, talking about what he felt like getting into tonight. He was certainly not excited considering that it was a road course, but he's probably pretty happy now with a solid top 5 finish. You certainly very happy here with the first race win of the season. Moving into next week, I think we're at Langley Speedway. How do you feel about your chances to go 2 in a row and finally kick this momentum off here? Maybe take over Kyle Turzak with a points lead here by the end of the season.
I don't know about that. It's a stretch. Kyle's fast. I've passed him once, and I hold it, close to my chest and remember that one moment. But all those other races, he goes out there and shows us how to do it. So, it's going to be a tall order, but we're definitely going to send it.
Brian, congratulations, man. A well-earned race win. I think you kind of did a rope-a-dope with your brother, and you made it work, so congratulations.
Thanks, man.
Who do you want to thank before we let you go?
Shout out my family, you for doing the broadcast, Zach for hanging out with us tonight. Listen to you guys during the race. Amazing broadcast. The admins for putting this league on. Race control, keeping an eye on us. Drivers for showing up every week. And our sponsors. Can't forget our sponsors. Thank you.
Thanks for talking to us, Brian. Have a good one. We'll see you next week.
You too.
Brian McCann, your race winner here from Charlotte Motor Speedway at the Roval. See if we can pull Kevin McCann up next and get a word with our runner-up and see if he can corroborate this story. Kevin, it's Steve and Zach in the HBR TV booth. You got us?
Yeah, how's it going?
Kevin, congratulations, man. A second-place finish. I know you're out here trophy hunting here tonight, but walk us through that pass. I know Brian had one story. I'm not going to tell you what it was. I want to hear your side of it here. A little bit of trouble, it looks like there. Maybe the exit of the backstretch chicane. Your brother gets alongside, gets past you. You really put the pressure on him after the fact, but unable to get back by him. Walk us through what happened there when Brian got past and took the race lead.
Yeah, I just started suffering from big head syndrome, and really thought I could get back by him, so I let him by. And yeah, he was doing everything right. He was fast in all the right parts of the track, and he started brake checking me, kind of like entry of the corner, and he was pulling out all the stops, and I just couldn't get back by him. I thought maybe I could do it in 10 minutes, but turns up I just burned up my tires trying. So he earned that one, I guess.
We definitely saw you get pretty darn close a couple of times, especially under braking, getting into both chicanes. That seemed to be your fastest part of the racetrack. Able to make a little bit of contact to kind of upset the handling on his car, but still not quite enough to get around. You have to settle for that second place. I know you like these road courses. We haven't seen you much this season, but we're going to see more of you here before we're done with these late model stocks.
Yeah, I'm gonna run a few more. There's some tracks on here that I'm definitely gonna try and make, like North Wilkesboro. That one's pretty good. I'm looking forward to that one.
With that said, Kyle Turzak already sent a shot over the bow. He said he's going to be a challenger for you come Daytona Road Course. Are you planning on running that one with these guys?
Oh yeah, and I don't know, man. That's my track, so we'll just have to wait and see. But I've probably got, many hours in that, running the Daytona 24 every year, and it's one of my favorite road courses. Whereas the Roval is probably my least favorite, so we'll see.
Just out of curiosity, Kevin, how many years do you have on iRacing?
Oh gosh, I don't know. 10 plus, I think.
Well, Turzak's only got 15 years on this earth, so we'll see what happens. Kevin, congratulations, man. A nice run here tonight. Tough break. You couldn't take it to victory lane. Who do you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, appreciate you guys doing the broadcast, and the guys put on the league.
All right, Kevin, thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck in the next races we see you at.
Yep, thank you.
Kevin McCann, your runner-up here from the Roval. Now we're going to talk to the 46 of Chris Mefford. Mefford also not running a full schedule this season. It's just not a full-time effort for the 46 by any means, but Chris Mefford bringing it home with a third-place finish here at the Charlotte Roval. Chris, it's Steve and Zach in the booth. You got us?
I got you.
Chris, congratulations, man. Long time no talk. Congratulations on a third-place finish here at the Charlotte Roval. Again, I know road racing is not really the forte of a lot of you guys out here, which is understandable considering it's an oval league. But walk us through your preparation coming into tonight. Was there any? You looked strong. You qualified third. You finished third. I mean, that's consistency. That is key.
Yeah, well, I got up this morning, went to work, and then had some Taco Bell. So Taco Bell usually hits the spot. I wasn't even going to run. Brandon messaged me. I was eating dinner with my wife. He's like, "Hey, get on your race. I suck." I'm like, "Okay, whatever." And I get on here, and I'm no, Brian, Kevin, or Zach, but I enjoy doing them. I find myself good to my standards, but them guys they're phenomenal.
Well, you really did have a strong run. Anytime you have a solid qualifying effort with a finish that matches with it, that's a strong night. I know there's some real fast road course guys out here, but if you finish second to two McCanns, you had a strong night, and you've got some talent that I don't think you're even aware you've got.
Yeah, those guys are definitely class of the field on a lot of leagues they run. Them guys, they put a lot of time in, and it shows. I mean, those guys are tough. Same with Zach. Whenever I haven't yet to see Zach lose at Watkins Glen because I know it's his home track, and he pretty much dominates there. So I was on this thing quite a bit, and then I got off just because of work purposes, and then I had to change my graphics card because it was really stuttering quite a bit. So hopefully I get back in here and race a little bit more.
So with that said, we've got Langley coming up next week, and then I think a break, and then Slinger. Are we going to see some of these races here in the future before the season's out?
We'll see. So I'm kind of get myself back into the racing shape of things. You might not. It's going to be a 50-50 shot. Probably just depends what I really got going on. I did hear that Kyle called out the McCanns for Daytona Road, and I have a substitute driver that he has no idea that he's running yet, right, Zach?
Right.
But no, dude, it's a fun little league. I mean, you guys ran these late models. It's always been, who's going to be out front quite a bit because they have so much grip, It's just really, you can actually have some good racing with them. So I might be out there, might show my face a little bit. Probably won't talk to you guys, but I think I might be out there a couple times.
Well, Chris, we hope to see you out there for sure. Obviously, you run these short tracks very well. I think if you do continue to run this series, we're going to be having some conversations. May not necessarily be for the race win, but you're going to be in the conversation for sure. We'll give you that much 100%. Chris, again, congratulations on a solid top 3 finish here at the Roval. Who do you want to thank before we let you go?
Yep, I thank you, Steve, and HBR TV for broadcasting, and Zach for being up for the booth. I know we wasn't Zach Millett fast, but I find myself fast to my standards, and so Brandon had a good run too. Just like you see on the track, these McCanns are very, very fast in these road courses. Shout out to Wally and all the admins for putting up with us, all of our sponsors, and all the support. Without them guys, it would be possible. Shout out to my wife for letting me do this, and all my teammates at Charity Motorsports.
All right, Chris, good to talk to you, man. Hope to talk to you again in the future. Congratulations again, man. Have a good night.
Thanks, I appreciate you too.
Chris Mefford, your third place finisher here from the Roval. We talked to these guys, Zach, and they all kind of have the same mindset, and that's, we're not as fast as Zach Millett. We're not as fast as you guys on the road courses, but these guys, they can compete, okay? Don't let anybody fool you out here. They know what they're doing. Brian McCann, obviously. Kevin McCann, obviously. And even though Chris Mefford kind of puts himself down, he's got this figured out. He knows what he's doing at the wheel of a race car, whether it's in the sim or even real life. Brandon Mefford, the same thing. We talked to him yesterday post-race. He was not looking forward to tonight. He started 5th, finished 4th. A strong run for the 83.
Yeah, man, and we've seen it tonight. Like, being consistent is way more than more important than being fast. The pace helps here and there, but being consistent, hitting your marks lap after lap, that's what wins races, man. I mean, if you could do that every race, you're going to be up there every time.
We talk about guys like Mark Truxell, for instance. He's not always the fastest guy, whether it's a road course or even a super speedway or anywhere else that we go. Mark Truxell, of course, coming in from No Bull, previously the Spirit Class Auto Racing Series. Mark Truxell has got wins over in SCAR. There was legitimate NASCAR drivers in that series. He's got the ability, and the biggest part of his craft is, like you said, Zach, it's consistency. It's taking care of the car, being around at the end of these things. That's the number one thing. If anybody's watched Days of Thunder, what is the one thing you absolutely have to do to win a race?
Drive through the smoke.
You got to finish the race. Right? Mark Truxell does that on a regular basis. He's always finishing these races, and that puts you in contention for a win. And a lot of times at these road courses, if you're just an oval guy and I hate road courses, just take care of the car. Run every lap, keep it out of the grass. You'll have a good run almost every time.
Yeah, and that's Truxell for you. I mean, his car is perfect after every single race. It's incredible.
We saw that again out of both Meffords tonight. Brian McCann, Kevin McCann. Honestly, they didn't have a perfect night. Brian, of course, we saw him catch a piece of the outside wall a time or two. I don't know if Kevin got the fence or not, but he definitely burned up his stuff there late trying to get around his brother. So it's all about taking care of your stuff. It really is what did it for Brian McCann here tonight. He also got a little lucky with somebody being cute on the backstretch.
Yeah, that was a fantastic finish.
Well, with that, let's take a look at our race results. Of course, we talked to Brian, Kevin, and Chris. 4th place finisher was Brandon Mefford. 5th went to Josh Funkhauser. Good run for the 81. Timmy Schofield was 6th. A great run for the 12 as well. Brent Butler was 7th. Mike Cook was 8th. Jarrett Wiedner finished in the 9th spot. Garrett Johnston 10th. Again, Garrett having an issue. I must have got it fixed because he came back out on the racetrack, still salvaged a top 10. Doug Wysocki was 11th. The 9 of Adam Benefiel was 12th. Chris Wally finishes 13th. Nuke Quick was 14th. Larry Bruner 15th. Josh Stewart finished in the 16th spot. Tough run tonight for Kyle Turzak. Out of this one early, finishes 17th, 9 laps down. And Zachary Kleek finished in the 18th position, 36 laps down. Final finisher tonight was the number 84 of Matt Kopp. He was 46 laps down. Thank you guys all for tuning in here tonight. If you haven't already, click the thumbs up in the stream. Help us out with that. Click that like button. It helps us more than you realize. It's free to do. It helps us here at the channel. Both channels. Do it here at HBR TV and IROC TV. Help us both. I know we dual stream this particular league, and that's totally fine. help us out with that. It does make a big difference. It pushes the videos out to wider audiences, some guys that may or may not necessarily watch the race or know about it for that matter, or say, hey, I've never heard of IROC. I want to go race with those guys. So it kind of works across the board for not only us here at the channel, but also the league itself. Check us out also, hbrtv1.com. Click the live tab for today's broadcast. As long as you're clicking, I would say anytime after 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, race day, that link should be active with the most recent upcoming link for the race. I'm not perfect, though. Sometimes I screw that up and I forget to post it. So in case that happens, just, you've been warned. Zach, thanks for joining us here in the booth here tonight. It was 10 times the broadcast with somebody else up here with me. It certainly makes those caution laps easier to take. Obviously, we only had to deal with the stage cautions here tonight. No major incidents to speak of. So a very clean race, really. I think everybody, for the most part, made it to the checkered flag. Granted, laps down, but I don't know. What was your take on it tonight, Zach?
And it's just an incredible race. You know, it really is a pleasure watching these IROC guys run around these places. I mean, every track they go to, it's always, you know, super clean race, tight racing. It's always a great finish. I mean, if I'm not working, Steve, I'm more than happy to jump up in the booth and watch these races. It's a great group of guys.
Well, we're certainly welcome to have you here any chance you're available, Zach. We do appreciate that. And if those of you want to watch Zach Millett try to win another race here coming up March the 6th, it'll be at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the Num Thumbs Racing League, the AMCO Transmissions Late Model Stock Tour here at HBR TV. We'll be live there. I think about 8:10 p.m. is the green flag or qualifying. If you just tune in by 8 o'clock, we'll call it good. And then Thursday, we've got the Lone Star Racing, also AMCO Transmissions Cup Series. That's going to be at Pocono Raceway. Zach Millett going to be taking part in that as well. 75 laps to call that one as well. That's going to wrap it up for us here. Again, tune in next week here for Langley Speedway here in the IROC Challenge Series. Kicking off here about 9 p.m. in the East at HBR TV. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Steve Singer for Zach Millett, congratulating Brian McCann on a race win here at the Charlotte Roval. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good night.